joining us?
No.
For the
Second. I think it's a second. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Barbara, Simon, Terry. Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Welcome to Saturday Matinee. The actual show begins at about 5:15. So this is a time for us to connect, catch up, check in. If this is your first time, my name is Frances Benson. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for the Fountain Theater and your host for this show. This is something that we've been doing since we've been in lockdown, and it's just a way for us to stay connected to you. We love our Fountain audience and our Fountain family, and we know how difficult it's been to be isolated for this long. So this is just our way of hoping to spread a little joy. It's been a very difficult week. I have to say, it's been a very, very heavy week. So I'm really hoping that tonight we can spread a little love and maybe a little bit of joy. And to begin, I think my check-in question will be, what has brought a smile to your face this week, if anything? I know it's been a difficult week and a painful week for many, but if there's anything that brings a smile to your face, what is it? And I will mute everyone, and I'll let you know that you can raise your hand if you want to answer the question. If you go into participants, you should see a little icon to raise hand. So if I see your hand on the screen, I will call on you. If you can't figure it out, just wave your hand on the screen and I'll try to spot you. So that's if you'd like to answer the question or just say hello, I will unmute you. So the question is, what brings a smile to your face? And Celinda, did I say that right? Can you unmute? Oh, I can't hear you, you're muted. You're muted.
Does that work? Okay.
There you go.
I was at your very first one, and then I've had other things, and so I'm really glad to be back tonight.
Welcome.
I just was listening to a podcast when the person being interviewed, their little boy came in and he said, "Daddy, I need to know the password." And he said, I go ask your mommy, I don't want to say it on national radio. So that just made me smile.
That's good. Thank you. Welcome. Anyone else? Jonathan, welcome back.
Thank you. Well, coming to the end game of teaching for a semester and writing a final exam and a third midterm that is challenging enough, but not too challenging. I think I've done it, so that's made me smile.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to say hello or answer? Oh, here we go. I don't see any raised hands. Anyone else want to just say hello? Marjorie?
Unmute. Yeah, I'm glad to be with the group. For some reason, I got unsubscribed, but when I connected with Stephen, he showed me how to resubscribe, so I can join in. And I love the Fountain and always have. But I guess what made me smile particularly today is this is my second Zoom encounter today. My first one was Karen Morrow has a performance class that I've been taking for years, and now she's doing it on Zoom. And 14 of us met today and sang on Zoom, and it was just great.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I see Chenier. I don't know if I said that right.
That was close, Chenier. I didn't know that this existed before. Somehow it popped up. I know Antonio Lyons, and somehow this popped up on my Facebook for the first time, and I thought, well, why not?
That's a good reason to do anything. Welcome. I'm glad you joined us. I see Joanne. Joanne, hi. How are you?
Hi, Franz Luce. I had to come. I know you guys are doing such wonderful work, and I love Antonio's work, and it's just a real gift to be able to honor that.
Oh, I'm so honored to have you. It's great to
Thank
see
you
you.
so much. Great to see you.
Joanne, I should say Joanne Webb is, I don't know what your official title is, but she coordinates the Teaching Artist program at the Actors Fund. Is that right?
That's right. I'm the director of the Career Center there. Yeah.
And it's an amazing program that I am a graduate of, and there are always ongoing workshops, and they really have created a great community of teaching artists in Los Angeles. Most arts education programs, I'm sure, have at least one or two teaching artists that have gone through that program. So I'm glad you're here. Nice to see you. Anybody else? Hi, Kathleen. Uh-oh, I can't unmute you. You're muted. Can you unmute yourself? It's on the bottom left.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Kathleen. I'm a friend of Joanne Webb. And she suggested I come here and visit. So I'm checking it out. I like theater, and here I am.
Wonderful. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Janet.
She's muted.
Hi.
I'm unmuted. Okay, so we're also friends of Joanne. However, we're also friends of the Fountain. And we've been going, I don't know how many years, we lost track. And it's a fantastic experience every single time we've gone. So we're very much looking forward to Antonio.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I'm very happy he's here today. And thank you, Joanne, for bringing all your friends.
There's more.
Antonio, are you raising your hand to talk?
I'm raising my hand. I'm just so happy to see so many people I love and know that have come to be a part of this experience with me, and my first opportunity to do something with the Fountain. You know, Janira, she's in the Midwest, and there's family that's tuned in from Florida, and friend families from LA, and it's just in a time where we're so distant from each other, to have a space of connectivity.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think maybe that's one of the silver linings of this. It's really difficult not to have live theater, but it's been great for theaters across the country to connect and collaborate. As a lot of you know, we did a reading of one of my plays a week ago, and we had actors from New York and Los Angeles. I think we had a couple from San Francisco, and it's great to be able to have that opportunity to connect with people that represent different theaters, because we're often very isolated. So I would say that's a silver lining. Anyone else want to say hello, check in? Hi, Juliet. Can you unmute? There you go.
Yes, I'm unmuted. Hi, everyone.
Welcome back.
Thank you. So,
yes, was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
It was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So it's just great to be back on the other side, observing. And of course, my brother, Antonio, I love him, so I had to tune in. But it's great to be here.
Nice to see you again. Anyone else want to say hello? Hi, Barbara.
Hi.
You're good.
Go ahead, Barbara.
Oh, now you're muted. You were unmuted before.
I'd like to say something. This is Janice.
Hi, Janice.
I love being with all of you. I love the Fountain Theater. I've been, I think, probably coming for about 10 years and never been disappointed. And also, there's always a feeling of warmth and camaraderie there, which is really wonderful, especially in LA lately. So thank you for that and for all that you do.
Thank you for sharing that. Barbara, do you want to try again? Let me see. I can't hear you. All right. Hi, Diana.
Hi. Well, I'll say that your play made me smile. Not the subject matter, but the extraordinary writing. It was really a beautiful production and virtual production and beautifully written. So your play made me smile.
Thank you. Well, that made me smile. So thank you. All right. Shall we do one or two more? One more, if there's anyone who has a burning desire to say hello. I see a hand, but it says Samsung, so I'm not sure what your name is. Unmute yourself.
Okay.
Here you go.
I am a great lover and a long-time subscriber to the Fountain Theatre up until I moved to Minnesota. And I miss the Fountain, and just having this is wonderful, a wonderful connection. And whenever I get back to California, that's my first stop. So
I'm glad you're joining us. What's your name?
Maureen.
Maureen. Welcome, Maureen. It's good to see you.
Thank
you. Somebody's saying hello. They had their hand up. Annette Green. Hi, Annette Green. Do you want to unmute yourself and say hello, or you just want to check in on the chat? If you want to unmute yourself. All right.
No, I was just saying hello, but I was invited by Antonio, so that's my cousin, but I'm here to support, so.
Welcome for joining us. Thank you. Al, did you have your hand up? Just a wave? Okay. Hi. One more, Judy.
I just want to say that I love the Fountain. I've been going to the Fountain for years, and I think that you guys doing this every week, sometimes twice a week, is really awesome. And
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that. There's so much love for the Fountain tonight. That's great. So it's time for us to start the show. And as always, I'd like to share a little inspiration. As I said, when you guys first entered, it's been a very difficult week for, I think, the country, really. And one of the writers that I usually look to at times like this is James Baldwin. He's one of my favorites, and I think was way ahead of his time. And this is from Letter from a Region in My Mind. And when I was looking through some of his work, I was kind of shocked at how relevant this is to this moment. So I wanted to read this. When I was very young and was dealing with my buddies in those wine and urine-stained hallways, something in me wondered, what will happen to all that beauty? For Black people, though I'm aware that some of us, Black and white, do not know it yet, are very beautiful. And when I sat at Elijah's table and watched the baby, the women, and the men, and we talked about God's or Allah's vengeance, I wondered, when that vengeance was achieved, what will happen to all that beauty then? I could also see that the intransigence and ignorance of the white world might make that vengeance inevitable, a vengeance that does not really depend on or cannot really be executed by any person or organization, and that cannot be prevented by any police force or army, historical vengeance, a cosmic vengeance, based on the law that we recognize when we say whatever goes up must come down. And here we are at the center of the arc, trapped in the gaudiest, most valuable, and most improbable water wheel the world has ever seen. Everything now, we must assume, is in our hands. We have no right to assume otherwise. If we, and now I mean the relatively conscious whites and the relatively conscious blacks, who must, like lovers, insist on or create the consciousness of the others, do not falter in our duty now. We may be able, handful that we are, to end the racial nightmare and achieve our country and change the history of the world. If we do not now dare everything, the fulfillment of that prophecy recreated from the Bible in a song by a slave is upon us. God gave Noah the rainbow sign, no more water, the fire next time. It's one of my favorites. And it's just so, again, apropos to this moment. And his writing is always so brutally honest, and yet hopeful. There's always this bit of hope underneath, which is what I love, and which is what I love about our guest tonight, who is a very special human and an extraordinary artist. And he's such a great example of a global citizen and a global artist. He's an artist of the Afro diaspora. You know, he pulls from so many backgrounds that make up his cultural landscape in a way that most artists that I know personally are not able to do. And he's a multidisciplinary artist. He's an actor, he's a singer, he's a producer. He is someone who kind of connects people in a really beautiful way. And I am so grateful that he's our guest. Welcome, Antonio. Unmute yourself.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
How has this week been for you? I know that's a very loaded question, but if you want to share anything briefly about what's come up or how this has maybe impacted your work creatively.
Been a challenging week. It has been a week that is filled with revelation. The virus, the COVID-19 virus pandemic aside, which already creates a sense of uncertainty, has created opportunities for growth and introspection and intentional connection. The murders of Black bodies, people's children, and partners, parents, is beyond unsettling. And it's so appropriate that you read James Baldwin's work, because he speaks to not only what was happening in his moment in time, but what he saw as the continuity of that thing and what could happen in the future. Mm-hmm. And so we continue to live out these cycles of violence against Black and brown bodies and the dehumanization of people of color. So I have leaned into my work. I have leaned into prayer. I have been leaning into rich conversation with like-minded and like-spirited people. I have leaned into thinking of ways that we can support each other in this time of trauma.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. And
it's so interesting that you choose that word, because when I think a lot of your work, it's mm-hmm. very healing, and it seems driven by that intention, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And the piece that you've been working on, can you talk a little bit about that?
So what I'm going to share is there's a one-person show that I've been doing for about almost 10 years now called We Are Here that looks at Black male identity and gender-based violence. That piece was created in South Africa, but it's undergone various iterations depending on where it's lived. And always within the work, there's this idea that the things that we do as individuals, as human beings in the world, are tied to all the other iterations of ourselves, all the other environments, all the other relationships, all the upbringings, the societal structures, the experiences that we have inform how we do what we do or who we become. And so I've been leaning back into some of that work. I'm also working on a full-length play that lends itself to Afrofuturism that specifically looks at this continuum that James Baldwin started talking about of how violence and the marginalization of African diaspora bodies in particular, and what happens if it doesn't stop. Like, where do we end up 1,000 years from now if we don't find a solution? And how the same sort of dehumanization that happens to people of color is the same kind of mindset that allows for us to be so careless with our environment. And so those things are kind of tied together. Yeah, and so I'm share a little monologue from that as well. Yeah.
Beautiful. So which one are we going to do first?
We're going to start with We Are Here. Just going to dive in. And I say thank you for all of you for taking the journey with me, and for us being willing to take the journey together. I won't be silent anymore. As a firestorm swirls around me, an inferno seeking to consume my soul and my identity, my manhood, the fuel feeding these flames as they rage out of control. The men in blue, they stand with arms folded as timbers of my soul turn to ash. Who started this fire that ravages me inside out? What accelerant was poured upon my slumbering form just before the match was cast upon me? Nowhere to turn to for relief. The heat peels the skin from my flesh and tears the meat from my bones. In crispy blackened strips, I blaze like a beacon on the hill. Drawing to me those that love the macabre, come to bear witness to this moment. And it is to them my liquid eyes turn, and I try to speak, but my boiled tongue can no longer articulate. I speak with the look, I am not the first or the last, I am one of many. Cast your sight across this land, cast your gaze upon this world and see with the fullness of yourself. We count in the millions that burn brightly, silently, and completely. We burn, hoping that you will lend a hand to douse these flames that consume so much. Too much. And a shared tear hisses and evaporates on its way to the scorched earth at my feet. A little moisture to ease the pain. I am consumed entirely into death. Ashes to the wind carry me far and wide. I live for love, as do many of my brothers. Why? Why this pain? Why this torture? Why me? Why now? Why don't I just give up and die? Why? I have nothing left to give. Nothing left to lose, nothing left to give but these stories like my own. Begging to be seen, demanding to be heard. I'm picking up the pieces. Big, small, minuscule, reshaping lives. I'm a nurturer. I'm a failure. I didn't protect her or steer her in the right direction. He hit her. And he kicked her and he sent her to the emergency room with a fractured skull and permanent damage to her vertebrae. He shouted and humiliated her in front of their children and impregnated her again and stole her from her family because they got tired of seeing her messed up and her defending him. And their warnings falling on deaf ears. And he stole her youth. And he killed her spirit and he cheated on her time after time. And neglected her and threw her away, a step away from the grave. I told her, and I argued with her, and I showed her proof, and I sheltered her every time that she left. And I drove her to the hospital and the morgue to identify their last-born's small body, visited by a mysterious death in their home. And I prayed for her, and I forgave her. And I sheltered her every time that she left, and I held her in my arms as the police arrived to arrest her for killing him in his sleep. Finally. Now she serves time. And she doesn't know her children, and she writes me letters about all that she's learning and asking for forgiveness, and I give it. And she wonders how her children are growing, and I tell her they're doing well, and I update her on their grades in school and the latest fads they succumb to and how they miss her and their father, and how they call me uncle. And I rock them safely to sleep at night. And we make up stories to help them forget life from before, and we paint pictures of a future where mommy is out of jail and daddy is in heaven, being healed by God. And we pray. And we pray some more. God, may your love help heal the wounds that afflict South Africa. May your love help men and women the world over see the value in themselves and each other. And while we sleep, keep us safe in your arms. Late at night, I lay in my bed, just thinking and wondering how all this happened. And what was missing in the two of them that could create such madness? And why people who have a choice, they choose dysfunction for themselves and their children. And what could I have done to put the brakes on this bullshit? What? I'm picking up the pieces. Big, small, minuscule, reshaping lives. I'm a nurturer. I'm not a failure. I tried to protect her and steer her in the right direction. I don't know how many of y'all got kids, but I moved to South Africa. I adopted a son. And at 13, y'all know them teenage years, you know, when they start smelling themselves and, whoo, Lord. And I couldn't figure out to have some hard conversations that we need to have because he was like testing everything. So I had to practice a conversation. Well, shit, y'all got some kids. Maybe y'all can help me out. That's what I'm thinking. My boy. My son. My heartache. My challenge. My smile. Blood does not bind you to me, but circumstances and shared destiny. New purpose, redirection, and as you rise to teen years and a solid place in my life. I mean, an intelligent sense of self coupled with stubbornness. I grow envious at your ability to be. Pride swells as you grow from strength to strength. And battles fought have humbled us both. I try with the limited tools I have to shape us, and sometimes I fail badly. Oh, so badly. And I watch you struggling to shed your boy skin, battling to become a man, you against me, I for you, and it tears my heart from the root. I pour my hopes and my fears and my prayers into this daily shaping. Look, histories of hidden rocks, rough water chronicles hide shallow paths, razor sharp barriers just below the surface. A Black man's journey is always different. He must know. My seer's eye sees days of pain at others' hands. If I don't teach these lessons well, if I don't give him something that is his to hold and frame a future for him to navigate, if he doesn't learn it here, he'll learn it out there, I hear myself say. I worry about the hard lessons that life will endeavor to etch across his face, twist mind, body, spirit. You must not break. You must wear the shield of love, my boy. Carry close to your heart this chain of respect. Wrap fearlessness around your waist. Tune yourself to the sound of God. Wash daily in a bath of humility. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I hurt. Truths that will launch you onto unexpected shores once you move past the pain that is not real. I tell you, I love you daily, so you never have to worry about what it feels to be loved. Find a mirror. Say it to yourself. Every day but mean it. Empty words lose their magic and in power that could have been yours. Will sleep the contented rest of the dead. Look, I'm sorry, my outturned pockets trickle no coins to drip into your hands. I hope to deposit something more valuable in your heart. Tools seasoned with care and with the blood of ancestors, those you've known, and others' blood remembered. I give you keys to becoming a man. To becoming a man. She called to apologize, to say, sorry for being trifling. I know I should have called you sooner, but you know how it is. And I respond, well, you know, I've been known for being trifling too on occasion. And we launch into conversation about party planning and things in the news and what you've been up to lately. To, are you gonna write a new poem or recite an old one or just delve into another writer's work, to themes of blood and the killing of women. Those we've known, heard about in the news or other stories. You know, and I can hear the sister's pain and passion about doing something to stop the carnage. They were killed, she says. They were killed because they were women, because they were lesbians, because they were HIV positive, because they were old and labeled witches. And my heart aches and memory awakes, remembering my Aunt Stephanie taken too soon by a violent boyfriend in the middle of the night in her home while her two little girls were in the next room. And I grieve again for her loss and for her father and for her children and for my mother, who is her sister, and for her brother and for my eldest brother who knew her best, and for all the families that have and will lose women they love. And she tells stories of women taken from her clan too soon. And the chaos spinning in the lives of their children wounded so long with gaping holes now filled by street corners, violence, drugs, and apathy. Where are the brothers, she says? Where are the men? And I take a deep breath and I say, we're here. Because what she means is, where are those who would not steal my kinswomen? Where are those not like the other men we know that have spent their entire lives as children? And what I mean is, those of us who are the polar opposite of them are here. And when you ask for us without seeing us, it pains us, but we still do what we do in strength and light. And I think about my three brothers, each valuable in his own way, as we all are, but still standing of vistas of hope, and the other brothers in my circle of knowing. And I tell her that we are here and that there are role models for boys and peers and elders. And conversation goes to what's happening in the news, to Zuma and failed democracies, to COVID-19 and Black bodies that can't breathe, and how you gonna heal from this? 2, we got to do something, Antonio. Yeah. No, we will. We got to do something, Antonio. Yes, we will. Every day of our lives must. We got to do something, Antonio. Women are being killed because they are women. Yes, we will. We are here. That's it. That's We Are Here. Excerpts from We Are Here.
Thank you. I want to unmute everyone so we can get an applause.
Here.
Woo! Woo!
Oh, I'm almost speechless.
Wow.
So beautiful, Antonio, so beautiful. And really exactly what I needed right now. I feel like truly what I needed in this moment to heal from this week. And yeah, I mean, a lot of what we've been seeing this week, of really always, I mean, for years, is an attempt to diminish people's humanity or to ignore people's humanity. So it meant so much to see all of these humans, all of these Black men in all of their humanity, all unique, to see their hearts, to see their vulnerability. Because these are the Black men that I know. These are, you know. So thank you. Thank you. I want to ask a couple questions.
Please.
First of all, the language is so beautiful. The writing is so rich and robust and beautiful and poetic, lyrical, and just gorgeous. I'm curious about the response, because you've done this in South Africa, and have you done it in America as well?
Yeah.
And what is the response like? Because it's so powerful, and I wonder if a lot of Black men feel like they've seen themselves represented.
They do.
Yeah.
A lot of Black women, a lot of just humans in general. And I'm always surprised that it touches people, that it has impact. You know, we write what we write because we have to write it, right? It comes through, and, you know, it may start with an idea, but, you know, for me, it just ends up really being spirit work. And, but every place that I've done it, whether it's in South Africa, whether it's in New York, whether it's in Ann Arbor, Michigan, whether it's in Memphis, Tennessee, the response has always been the same. Black men see themselves, Black communities see themselves. It creates an opportunity for conversation around issues that we find very difficult to talk about, particularly in mixed company. And it becomes a gateway where people can exhale. And often people talk about their own trauma, you know, and their fears. You know, to have Black men talk about how powerless they feel, or inept, and sometimes having hard conversations with their children. How to keep them safe, how to provide them with the tools to navigate the world that we live in, we've been living in, you know, is a constant thought. To hear wives of some of those men articulate that they didn't know that their husbands were walking with these fears because they never had the space to articulate them, you know, or given the tools to learn how to articulate them. And also the intergenerational conversations that happen out of this work. you know. So I'm very grateful that it does what it's meant to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
The voices are so specific, the characters are so specific. Are they based on actual people or just inspired by people that you've come across?
So when I first started writing, We Are Here in South Africa, they have they observe what's an international social activism kind of campaign called the 16 Days of Activism against the abuse of women and children. And I think they've sort of changed the title a bit to sort of be more encompassing of genders and other identities. But it is a period that's about from mid-November to the beginning of December that is geared towards focusing attention on violence. And so I decided to write a poem a day or a monologue a day, based on whatever conversations I was having, based on whatever was happening in the news, based on whatever was happening in my environment. The last piece came out of a conversation in South Africa with a poet friend of mine, Maisha Jenkins. And we were talking about this stuff in 16 Days of Activism and, you know, this violence. And, you know, as a woman, she was like, well, why brothers behave like they behave like this? Like, we all know somebody that has been harmed, some woman that has been harmed. And so we just had this really deep dive conversation. And after that conversation, I had to write this piece. You know, I had to write it in the way that it came out. And it sparked me to sort of really relive some of my own personal trauma, or that my family has gone through and that my family continues to go through every time the man who murdered my aunt is up for parole, right? So somebody has to go and bear witness for her, you know? Yeah, so, you know, the whole play is seeded with very personal moments for myself, or out of my community of people, whether they're family or friends or just the environment where I find myself living or found myself living at the time in Johannesburg.
I'm so honored that we got to experience some of it. It's such a beautiful piece. And I hope when we're out of this, perhaps we'll see it in LA.
That would be amazing. The whole play was supposed to happen. Actually, Juliet Jeffers was directing me. And we were meant to do it as part of the Solo Fest of Wi-Fi Theater, but then COVID-19 happened, and then so all that got shut down. I'm still meant to do the full piece in Dallas in a few months, depending on how everything goes, but sometime before the end of the year. So I'm excited about that. And for that performance, I added a new piece that deals with the violence against trans women. Dallas has an extraordinary high incident of the murder of trans women. And I really wanted to lean into how that happens, particularly how often this kind of violence ends up being about the individual, but it's also about the community creating an atmosphere where those murders can happen, that dehumanization can happen, that otherness can happen. And so I wrote a new piece for that didn't exist before. Yeah.
Beautiful work. You were going to do a little bit of music for us.
We are going to do a little music. I did want to share one more thing, which is from Crossing Rivers, which I'll read, because that's a work that's still very much in progress. Do we have time?
Sure.
It's short, but it's.
We're not going anywhere, so.
So this character, he's a young man. His name is Tremaine, and he's a young African-American man who is really trying to make sense of the attacks on his community and himself. I'm not grieving. I'm an angry ball of hurt, frustration, and confusion. I've never seen a Black person grieve. We never have time to sit in our pain before the next struggle arrives. Rent due, stomach empty, people at work saying and doing crazy shit slyly. Got you questioning your mental state, and then another body is laying at your door, parading across your TV screen, scrolling down your news feed, and the thoughts always whispering at the back of your mind, it could have been me. When's my time? While the other world full of sanitized possibility beckons for you to try a different path, tell you that all will be well if you shift your stride, allow the mysterious they to access your mind, just leave your hood and hood ways far, far behind. You don't know nothing about me, my family, my community, my identity. Then another death, and this time one of the proper niggas that caught a back bullet, got choked out, neck snapped, body bloated, floating where the levees broke. Possibility turns to lies and you die a little more inside. Who's grieving? I'm just trying to stay alive. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for
Yeah.
being a voice, a powerful voice for these images that we see. And for us, for me, for all of us, thank you.
Awesome.
Maybe we can close out with some music.
We can, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm gonna share one last thing and then I'll let you play some music before we go. This is also James Baldwin. It's a short one. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can change until it is faced. So that's getting me through tonight. So what are you gonna close us out with?
There's a song called My Africa that I love. It's a celebration. It's a celebration. So let's just get into it. And it's upbeat. So, you know, if y'all feel like moving and dancing, y'all can do that. You ain't gotta be sitting down or nothing. You know, move it. That's not it. There it is. Can you guys hear the music okay? If you can, give me a thumbs up. Yeah? Look at that. Okay, all right, okay, I see thumbs. Thank you, Chinyere. I see you, Michelle. Okay, Joanne. So this song is from an album of mine called We Dance, We Pray. More than just a dream, more than Tarzan and wild animals. more than genocides and patricides and babies sentenced to death before they're born. Hey, more than Tarzan and wild animals, more than genocides and patricides and babies sentenced to death before they're born. My Africa, my Africa, my Africa, my Africa. Yeah. More than buzzing flies, more than conflict diamonds, more than upheaval because of oil, more than Western food, more than refugees with nowhere to lay their heads. My Africa. Hey. My Africa, my Africa, my Africa. More than a BBC, Sky TV, Al Jazeera, CNN highlights, more than a National Geographic special, more than a footnote in history. Africa. Hey. More than pain with no joy, more than death with no life, more than grief with no sky. My Africa were locked to reach. Simon's not dancing. Simon's not dancing. That's Michael Robertson. My Africa where? Here the sun illuminating hearts. My Africa where artists speak their minds even when the gun is at their door. The last breath seems to be the song. Liberate my soul, liberate my knowledge, liberate my mind, liberate my birthing designers and sign icons, birthing music for the new age. And how music rebirth is fueled by the soil that let it stand. Hey! So there's just a little taste of some of my music.
Yes, 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 yes.
I'm glad I could get it.
Antonio,
Yes.
you are a gift, particularly in the moment. Thank you. You did.
Thank you.
From my heart tonight. And thank you all for joining us. It's such a pleasure to see you all. We do this every week, 5 p.m. And if there's anything that you want to see, if you know an artist, a suggestion, someone you'd like to bring on, you can email me. Or if you just want to chat, you can email me at franceluce@fountaintheater.com. And I'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night. Take care of yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you. Have a good night.
Wonderful. Thank you, France Luce.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful, just right for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Antonio.
Stay safe.
Hey, welcome. You're welcome.
Love you, Antonio. Thank you. Really special. Really special.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too, Michael Robertson.
Hey, James.